Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're going to be taking a closer look at Flair writing industries.
Oh, Flair.
You know, the pens that we
Actually-
all probably used in school.
Yeah, absolutely iconic.
And we've got three sources for this deep dive.
Right.
We've got their Q2 FY25 press release, their investor presentation, and the board meeting outcome from November 8th, 2024.
Okay, excellent.
But get this.
Yeah.
Flair is so much more than just pens these days.
Oh, really? I'm intrigued.
We're talking a major player in the Indian writing instruments market,
Okay.
like top 3.
Wow, that's impressive.
And they're branching out into all sorts of things.
Like what?
Art supplies,
Interesting.
steel bottles,
Okay.
you name it.
So they're really diversifying their product portfolio.
Like they're building a whole creative empire.
That's a great way to put it.
But
Right.
what's really driving their success?
Right?
And are there any hidden challenges on the horizon?
That's what we're here to find out.
Exactly.
All right, well, let's dive into the financials.
Okay.
Flair announced 5.1% year-over-year revenue growth,
Okay.
hitting 270.1 crore rupees.
Okay, hold on, back up a sec.
Sure.
270.1 crore rupees.
Yes.
For those of us not fluent in Indian currency,
Right.
what is that, like a gazillion dollars?
Aha, well, not quite a gazillion,
Okay.
but it is a significant amount.
Okay.
And their profit margin is a healthy 12.1%.
Okay.
So that means for every 100 rupees they make, they keep 12.1 rupees as profit.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
But you mentioned year-over-year growth.
Yes.
What's the bigger picture here?
Well, while year-over-year growth is good, the real story is their sequential growth. They saw a 9.3% jump in revenue compared to just the previous quarter,
Wow.
Q1 FY25.
Okay.
That kind of jump suggests they're gaining some serious momentum.
Like they hit the accelerator.
Exactly.
And their press release also mentions some other pretty impressive growth figures, too.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
16.1% for gross profit and 20.4% for EBITDA.
Ah, EBITDA.
Yeah.
Now, I know EBITDA might sound a little intimidating,
It does sound like a kind of sci-fi, yeah.
but it basically tells us how efficiently a company is running its core operations, before we factor in things like debt and taxes.
So a higher EBITDA means they're doing a good job keeping costs under control.
Precisely. And it gets even better when you look at their investor presentation.
Okay.
Over the past 3 years, they've achieved a compounded annual growth rate of 49%.
49. They're practically printing money at this point.
Well, not quite printing money.
Okay.
But they are in a very strong financial position.
Right.
They're actually what's called net debt negative, meaning they have more cash on hand than debt.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that gives them a lot of flexibility to invest in future growth.
So they've got the money,
Mm-hmm.
but what's their secret sauce? What's fueling this incredible growth?
Well, one key factor is their strategic shift towards focusing on their own brands.
Okay.
Think Flair, Flair Creative, Hauser, Pierre Cardin, and ZOXs.
Wow, they've got a lot of brands under their belt.
A whopping 90% of their revenue in Q2 came from those brands alone.
So it's like they're saying, hey, we're not just a pen company anymore.
Right.
We're a brand powerhouse.
Exactly. And there's some real advantages to owning your brand, too.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Well, it gives you more control over pricing, branding.
Okay.
You're not at the mercy of other companies' decisions.
It's kind of like building your personal brand.
Exactly.
You have more control over your own destiny. with that.
Absolutely.
I like that.
And speaking of control, Flair is also riding the wave of premiumization.
Premiumization.
Yeah, they're pushing into higher-priced products.
Okay.
Almost 2/3 of their new pens in FY24 were in the mid-premium and premium segments.
Interesting. So they're not just competing on price.
Right.
They're offering something more,
Mm-hmm.
something that justifies a higher price tag.
Exactly. And it's a strategy that seems to be working.
How so?
Well, their average selling price per piece jumped to 5.7 rupees in Q2.
Now, that brings up an interesting question for you, dear listener.
Oh, do you find yourself drawn to higher quality, higher priced products?
Yeah, think about it.
What brands come to mind that have mastered this whole premiumization game? Let us know.
I'd love to hear some examples.
But let's not forget about Flair's other big success story,
What's that?
steel bottles.
Oh, yeah, the steel bottles.
They have absolutely exploding in that segment.
It's incredible, isn't it?
I remember reading that they actually surpassed their entire FY24 steel bottle revenue in just the first half of FY25.
That's some serious growth.
Right.
There are a few key reasons behind this success, too.
Okay.
Their investor presentation highlights that they received a BIS Bureau of Indian Standards certificate for their bottles.
Okay, and what does it mean?
Well, this positions them perfectly to take advantage of new import regulations in India,
Gotcha.
which, favor domestically produced steel bottles.
So they're not just riding the wave.
Yep.
They're making strategic moves to ensure they're in the best possible position to ride it.
Exactly. And they're not afraid to be nimble either. Oh.
Remember, their investor presentation mentioned that they initially set up their steel bottle production line for an international OEM partner.
Yeah, I remember that.
Well, when they saw the opportunity in the domestic market,
Uh-huh.
they quickly pivoted to focus on domestic sales instead.
Wow.
Talk about being adaptable.
It's like they're playing chess, always thinking a few moves ahead.
That's a great analogy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we've got the high-growth pens,
Right.
the booming steel bottles.
Yes.
What about their creative segment? Is that keeping pace?
Their investor presentation shows steady performance from the creative segment in H1 FY25.
Okay.
And they seem confident it will accelerate in the latter half of the year.
Okay.
What's interesting is that they're bringing more of their creative product manufacturing in-house.
So they're taking more control over that segment?
It seems so, yeah. It could be a sign that they see even greater potential there and want to maximize their margins.
And don't forget about their collaboration with Disney.
Oh.
They mentioned launching new products featuring those beloved characters in their investor presentation.
That's a brilliant move.
Yeah.
Tapping into the power of a global brand like Disney could open up a whole new customer base for them.
It's like they're building a brand ecosystem, from their own established names to strategic partnerships with giants like Disney.
And speaking of building, Flair is also investing heavily in their future.
Okay, how so?
They've got a pretty ambitious 230 crore rupee capex program in the works.
230 crore rupees. That's a lot of money.
It is.
What are they planning to do with all that?
Well, their investor presentation highlights that a big chunk of that capital expenditure will be used to boost their pen production capacity by 10%.
Makes sense.
They're clearly anticipating continued growth and demand for their pens.
Yeah.
And they're also building a centralized warehouse, too, right?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That's another interesting detail from the investor presentation. A centralized warehouse could really streamline their logistics and make their operations even more efficient.
It's like they're building a well-oiled machine.
But even the best machine needs a good driver. And in Flair's case, their driver seems to be their incredible distribution network.
Yeah, their investor presentation boasts about having the largest network in India for writing instruments.
That's right.
8,080 distributors, 196 super stockists, and over 330,000 wholesalers and retailers.
Wow.
That's mind-boggling.
It's truly impressive. That kind of reach gives them a massive competitive edge.
Definitely.
They can get their products into even the smallest corners of the market.
It's like they have capillaries reaching every customer in India.
Yeah, it's a great way to visualize it.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
Strong financials, strategic brand moves, expansion into new segments, and an incredible distribution network.
It sounds like Flair is on a roll.
It does.
Yeah.
But
Before we get too carried away, let's take a step back and consider some of the potential challenges they might face.
good point.
After all, no business is immune to headwinds, right?
You're absolutely right.
Even the most successful companies have to navigate choppy waters from time to time.
That's true.
So when we come back,
Yeah.
we'll dive into some of the potential challenges Flair might encounter on their path to continued success.
Sounds good.
Stay tuned.
We'll be right back. All right, so we've seen that Flair is, a company with a really bright future, but we can't forget that every business faces challenges out there right now.
Absolutely.
What are some of those potential headwinds that Flair might have to deal with as they move forward?
Well, like I mentioned earlier, global economic conditions are always a factor.
Right.
A slowdown in those key markets could definitely impact demand for Flair's products, especially when we're talking about that export segment.
Yeah.
And their investor presentation actually acknowledges that too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they've been facing some headwinds, particularly with those rising freight costs.
So external factors like global slowdown or those increasing shipping costs could put a damper on their growth plans.
Yeah, definitely something to watch.
What about competition? I mean, the writing instruments market seems
Oh, it's fierce.
Yeah.
It's fierce. New players are always emerging.
Right.
So Flair needs to stay ahead of the curve, in terms of innovation and product development if they want to maintain that competitive edge.
Yeah. I mean, they've been doing a pretty good job of that so far, I think,
They have.
with all their new product launches and,
Yeah.
they're pushing to those premium segments.
Right, exactly.
But it's a race that never ends.
Right. Never ends.
Can't get complacent.
No, absolutely not.
And we also have to think about the challenges that come with managing those ambitious growth plans, right?
Oh, for sure.
I mean, their CapEx program is significant.
Mm-hmm.
They'll have to execute it flawlessly to really see those benefits.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head there.
Right.
Large-scale expansion, it always comes with risks.
Of course.
Got to manage that supply chain really well.
Yeah.
Ensure that product quality
Mhm.
and keep those strong relationships with their distributors.
Yeah, their investor presentation really emphasizes that distribution network, right?
It does.
And all the steps they're taking to make it even stronger.
Yeah, and that's critical because any disruptions there could seriously hurt their sales.
So it seems like one of Flair's biggest challenges might just be managing their own success.
That's a good point.
Right.
Yeah, it's that delicate balance between growth and operational efficiency.
Right.
And never losing sight of those customer needs.
Right.
Innovation is key.
Okay, so we've talked about the numbers, the strategies, but what about the people behind Flair?
Ooh, yes.
Their presentation does highlight their board of directors, the senior management team, and they've got decades of experience.
They do.
It's almost like a family affair,
It is.
Multiple generations of the Rathod family involved in the business.
Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah, it's almost like a legacy.
It is. It is.
Do you think that's a strength or a weakness?
Well, I think it can be both, honestly.
Okay.
On the one hand, family businesses often have that strong sense of tradition, values.
Right.
They're in it for the long haul. But on the other hand, there can be challenges with succession planning, bringing in those outside perspectives, fresh ideas.
Right, so it's almost like Flair's trying to strike a balance.
It
right?
seems so, yeah.
They've got those family members providing that continuity, that deep understanding of the company's roots.
Right.
But they've also got, a professional management team in place.
Exactly.
Bringing in those fresh ideas, outside expertise.
Yeah, best of both worlds.
It sounds like they're also really committed to corporate social responsibility, too. Their presentation mentions all these efforts to empower women in the workforce.
Yes.
Supporting education in local communities. They even gifted a school bus, I think.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, it shows they're not just focused on profits, right?
No, it shows they care.
But on giving back to society.
It's inspiring.
Okay, so we've dissected Flair's financials.
Yes.
Explored those strategies.
We have.
Gotten a glimpse of the people behind it all.
Yeah.
But there's one more angle I kind of want to examine here.
Oh, okay. I'm intrigued.
So we've been talking about Flair as a company operating within a specific market.
Right.
But what if we zoom out a little?
Okay.
And think about them as a potential case study in Indian entrepreneurial success?
Ah, I see where you're going.
What lessons can we learn from their journey that might apply to other business leaders out there?
Yeah, that's a great question.
In India or even globally, right?
Absolutely.
Let's start with their long-term vision.
Okay.
Flair hasn't been afraid to evolve, adapt.
No, they haven't.
Moving from that, primarily pen-focused company to a diversified player in multiple segments.
They've really reinvented themselves, haven't they?
Yeah, while staying true to their core strengths.
Right.
That's not easy to do.
No, it's not.
It takes, a willingness to embrace change, to constantly innovate, seek out new opportunities.
They've done a great job of that.
Yeah, they haven't been afraid to take calculated risks either.
No, not at all.
Like entering the steel bottle market, right? Or setting up their own creative product manufacturing.
Exactly.
And those risks have paid off.
They have. They've paid off big time.
They've also demonstrated a really keen understanding of the importance of building a strong brand.
Absolutely, right from the start. They've focused on creating a brand that resonates with consumers.
Wow.
One that represents quality, reliability, and even a touch of nostalgia.
Yeah, it's powerful, right?
Very powerful.
And they've cleverly leveraged that brand recognition to expand into those new product categories.
Smart move.
And let's not forget that distribution network.
Oh,
right?
could we?
It's incredible.
Yeah, it's not just about logistics either. It's
Okay.
about those relationships,
Yeah.
with the distributors, wholesalers, retailers.
All across the country.
It's a network of trust, shared success.
They've also shown a commitment to investing in their people.
Yes, absolutely.
Both in terms of employee development and those social responsibility initiatives.
It's a holistic approach to business.
Yeah.
One that recognizes the importance of people, purpose, and profit.
Well said.
Thank you.
So as we kind of wrap up this part of our deep dive into Flair,
Yeah.
I'm struck by the fact that their story is more than just pens and profits, right?
Oh, it is. It is.
It's about a company that's grown and evolved alongside India, reflecting the aspirations and the entrepreneurial spirit of a nation that is on the rise.
Beautifully put.
But now I'm wondering, what could the future hold for Flair?
That's the big question.
Could they take this success, with the writing instruments, the bottles, and conquer entirely new markets?
That's a question worth exploring.
What do you think?
Well, stay with us as we shift our focus to the future and think about what exciting possibilities might be out there for Flair.
Don't go anywhere. Okay, so we've talked about all this incredible growth and explored those potential hurdles that might be out there.
Right.
But now I want to kind of shift gears a little bit.
Okay.
Put on my my Imagineer hat here,
and
throw out a real what-if scenario.
I like where this is going, yeah.
Okay, so
Hit me.
We've seen how Flair has successfully diversified, right? From the pens into the creative products, the steel bottles.
Smart moves.
And they've used, that brand recognition, their manufacturing know-how, and that incredible distribution network to make it all happen.
They definitely have a knack for spotting those growth opportunities and adapting to whatever the market's doing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So here's my wild thought.
Okay.
What if they decided to just take this whole diversification thing even further?
Further. Okay, now you've got my attention. How much further are we talking?
Like, really? Further?
Okay.
What if they went beyond product categories that even have, like, a connection to their current business?
All right.
And just explored something totally new, unexpected.
Oh, wow. That would be a bold move.
Right.
Almost like a plot twist.
Think about it. They've already proven that they can succeed in new industries.
That's true.
Right.
Yeah.
They've got the capital, the infrastructure, the management experience to take on bigger challenges, right?
You're right.
What if they, use that distribution network to enter the fast-moving consumer goods market, the FMCG market?
Whoa, now that is a massive market.
Right?
Huge potential.
Yeah.
That's also incredibly competitive. Think about all the big players that are already in that space.
That's true, but Flair wouldn't be starting from scratch, would they?
That's a good point.
They could team up with some of these existing FMCG companies, right?
Yeah.
Use those distribution channels, reach a whole new audience.
It's an interesting thought.
Imagine Flair-branded snacks or household goods appearing on shelves all over India.
I can see it now.
Right?
Yeah. Or they could even go the private label route,
Oh, yeah.
Tap into that trend of, consumers who want quality products at affordable prices.
Right.
Flair could really be a household name for way more than just pens.
Yeah, for a whole range of everyday items.
Exactly.
And don't forget about e-commerce, too.
Oh, of course.
Right.
Yeah.
They could build up a really strong online presence.
Absolutely.
Leverage the brand to reach even more people.
The possibilities, they really are endless, aren't they?
Right.
But, got to be realistic, too.
Of course, yeah.
Any move into a totally new market requires careful planning, a solid strategy.
Of course, eh?
It's not just about saying, hey, let's do this.
Right.
And crossing your fingers.
They'd have to do their homework.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Research that market.
Yeah.
Understand the competition. Figure out what products or services to even offer.
It's all about finding that right fit.
Exactly.
Where they can use what they're already good at.
Right.
To open up these new avenues for growth.
And I think Flair has shown that they have the potential to do just that.
They have. They've got that innovative spirit, a willingness to adapt to new things.
And that distribution network.
Don't forget about that.
That could be a game changer, right?
Oh, absolutely, in any market.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into Flair writing industries, I'm filled with a sense of admiration for everything they've accomplished. And excitement for what the future holds,
It's an exciting time to be following Flair.
They're a company that's clearly on the move, and I can't wait to see what they do next.
Me too.
And who knows, maybe one day we'll be back here doing a deep dive into Flair's foray into, like, renewable energy
Ooh, interesting.
Or healthcare, who knows?
That would be something.
Right.
But for now, we'll leave it to our listeners to ponder the possibilities.
What do you think Flair's next move should be?
What other industries or product categories could they potentially shake up? Let us know.
Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive.